I'm going to say something radical for us to discuss. The biggest problem in the world today is Christians. Christians who honor Jesus with their lips or use the label to identify themselves and then go out and live as bad as or worse than the world lives. Our failures are creating a plethora of global problems. The book of 1 Corinthians gives a nauseating picture of Christians who are divisive, sexually immoral, suing each other, fighting with each other, compromising with the world, you name it. Ephesians tells us about a church where the people are liars and thieves. They are bitter, full of rage, and they slander people. Paul urges them, stop living like the Gentiles in the futility of their thinking, darkened in their understanding and separated from the life of God because of the ignorance that's in them. Since they have hard hearts, not at all a complimentary chapter for the Church of Jesus Christ. James 5:1-6 tells us about rich Christians who abuse their positions and oppress the poor just as any unbelievers would. These are the Christian church today. I got a letter on YouTube this morning. He said, religion is where the most depraved and despicable behavior is not only tolerated, but also encouraged, simply because God said so. They demand money, they ignore science that refutes their claims, but will happily use a technology and cherry pick and twist theories that the scientific method provided without question to support their belief. They blame their own bad behavior on a creature called Satan and think that simply by confessing it, it will absolve them of bad behavior or sin. Here's a clue, he said. Rain doesn't fall because of a rain god. Volcanic eruptions don't occur because the gods are angry. Christianity, he said, is a well-marketed cult that has 2,000 years of philosophy built up behind it to circumvent questioning and obscene torture, the threat of or enforcement of the death penalty in particularly gruesome ways to encourage belief. Wow. Now, I hear how extreme and untrue all that is, but this is the impression that Christians have left on others. And this is not the only letter like this I've received. I've gotten about a dozen letters like this from different people, different sources. We, somehow, even though it's a contradiction, have Christian white supremacists, Christian nationalists, Christian anarchists. What in the world are people thinking? Pastors, what percentage of your congregation is sold out, fully committed disciples of Jesus Christ? How many of you would say your church is strong and vibrant, filled with people who are hungry for God's righteousness? Instead, we're more like ancient Israel, complaining, disputing with each other, self-absorbed, divided, worldly, and hypocritical. Of course, there are pockets of faithfulness, congregations of strength, and Christians of commitment. Of course there are. There will always be a faithful remnant, but the church at large is a global problem. We are 2.2 billion people strong, and yet the world gets worse every day. I don't like to criticize the church, but we need to speak the truth in love. It's black people like Candace Owens who have to call out Black Lives Matter. It's leftists like Bill Maher who has to call out the leftists. And so it's Christians who have to call out Christians. This is our house. It's our family that's blowing it. Christians, grow up. Wise up. Shape up. We are ruining the kingdom of God and blaming it on the unbelievers. You have to get the log out of your own eye. 2 Chronicles 7:14 is talking to us. So let's talk about it. What are your comments? I know this sounds harsh. It's not angry. It's just trying to look at the church and let's talk about the church honestly. And let's be the ones to bring it up ourselves and not just turn a blind eye to our own issues. We shouldn't let the world call us out on our issues. We should be talking about our issues to make them right. So let's talk about it. What are your comments?